God, it's Friday. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Nima Akasha Zibiri, how you doing?
Good morning. Yesterday you people had left. Forgot to tell you that they were bringing sweet corn.
Oh.
I didn't feel guilty until I started eating in the night.
Oh.
So a friend of mine sells harvest from her farms, and I had ordered.
You know I love corn. I'm surprised.
Nima that drops on the. But Nima, our house is not far. You know my house. You know.
I'm not going to be at home.
I call my house up to
I was just thinking it's low, but when I was not eating it, I was like,
my spirit followed you. So you took the whole.
I bought how many kgs? I bought 10 kgs.
Nima, oh, they haven't cooked one.
Hey, but why did you bring some this morning?
I chop renewal. I chop the remaining one today.
So wait, who's this person? Can we order our own?
Yeah. Sequential harvest, you can order. I've told her that she should please pick up.
Can you just? My house is just next door.
This corn.
Meanwhile, she was busy chopping my fish yesterday.
I'll pay back. I'll give you your fish back.
That fish. I'm paying you money, Abby.
We're supposed to pay money.
How are you doing? Oh, you're good, yeah?
We are good. Congratulations on our 8th anniversary tomorrow.
Oh, yeah!
People don't forget.
Your view's gonna be 8 tomorrow! That's us.
As in
Nigeria.
No, but it's not Nigeria. I was coming to the show to do a shout out. I don't know if she will be able to watch. She called me this morning that it's about 1 a.m. in their time. Mrs. Susan, you know, God blesses you with some customers, that they will just be marketing you. This woman bought a house through me, bought for her brother, and in just paying 2 days ago, she has told 3 people already, and she has given them my number. They are already I'm like, you don't need a lot of customers. You just need God to just send one good customer your way. God bless you, Mrs. Susan. And she was so happy with her purchase that she's telling everybody around that she has bought a house in Lagos. She's paying installment. They should come and meet Tokpeo, and she's giving them my phone number and making sure they call me. God bless you. May God give us champions and supporters of our business.
Please, I'm waiting for you to enter mortgage because I have a lot of women on my head.
No, I have 7-year payment plan. There's a 7-year payment plan.
Okay, we'll talk about it later. Yeah.
How are you doing this year?
It's nurturing the natural tomorrow. I'm so excited. We have over 100 participants. I don't even know where to put the remaining people because I wanted to just do 100. So the plan is to have it every quarter by the grace of God. Because I noticed that teacher training, as a classroom teacher, we're trained like every 2 weeks on different. Because you think we are trying to catch up. The world is moving. So every day there's new technology, there are new methodologies, there are new pedagogies for education. So they were constantly training us. That's the sort of thing I want to do. So it's not a one-off training. It's something that we can have regularly. So by God's grace, I'm planning to be having it 4 times a year. Yeah. I need sponsorship for that because it's huge. I personally took up this one myself. It was Mr. Ogbo, anyway, that decided to do this for me. Yeah. So I'm happy. I'm excited. The class is going to be full, fun. The facilitators are ready. I'm just grateful.
Should be fun.
Well done.
I'm grateful. Thank
you. What's the plan for this weekend?
This weekend, I want to go and get my glasses. You know, I was going to do. I mean, this is YK, so YK gave me this one. So I need to go somewhere. Someone invited me to go somewhere. I'm going to go there and see if I can do it properly.
Can they don't just look at this and replicate it?
No, I don't know.
Because I don't know.
So I'm going to sort that out today. This weekend, I was invited to dinner on Sunday. I'm really excited about that. No, on Saturday evening.
Okay.
That's good food, I know.
Yeah, good food. Some good place. Okay. Nice. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
All right, we're going to start with The Nation. How NSAS protest weakened police, says Inspector General. Legislative, judicial, financial autonomy set to take off. Theater Commander Major General Yahaya is Army Chief. 41 INEC officers destroyed in 14 states, says Chairman. South demands more derivation cash and 26 bodies recovered in ferry accident. Let's start with the major headline, VC.
Yes, so the Acting Inspector General of Police, Usman Baba Alkali, lamented yesterday that last year's NSAS protest weakened the capacity of the police to battle insecurity. According to him, he said aside from the dampening of the morale of the security operatives, the fact that they were not able to, that they had to, close down the NSAS department, weaken that department, and also the fact that We have a lot of agitations right now, especially in the south, southeast. Police stations are being razed down. Police personnel are being attacked. That they do not even have enough personnel, and then they are losing people every day, losing, you know, equipment and the buildings and all of that. That's affecting insecurity. So he is appealing, saying that though we've been talking about community policing, but right now it seems like every community has a form of vigilante that's protecting them, that we need all the help we can get. We need collaborations from stakeholders, private individuals. In cases of security, security is for everybody.
Right.
Let's
take INEC.
No, the South
demands more derivation
yes.
cash, yes.
So there was the constitutional review that we spoke about that we're going around the country. They had the one for the South in Port Harcourt. The governor of Rivers State was represented by his deputy governor, and the statement was that they should increase the derivative from 13% to 25%. On the other hand, his counterpart that is in Akwa Ibom was saying there should even be a full 100% of the derivatives from oil should come to the state. The governor of Rivers State was saying that he believes in one Nigeria and the unity of Nigeria, but there must be constant review and upgrade to address lingering issues within the society, chief of which for him is devolution of power, that there must be devolution of power and that we must have progressive laws that address every issue on ground. So we're happy that people are attending this constitutional review. Other states that need to do it, Nigerians should pay attention and visit and lend their voice to what is going on.
Okay, did you read legislative and judicial autonomy?
Yes,
I read that story, yeah.
So just again, you know, the Usisi and then to, you know, the courts strike that will have, that they have reached an agreement.
Yes.
But this agreement that they're talking about is yet to be signed or endorsed by the Governors Forum.
Yes.
So, you know, their objections were louder than every other person before they agreed to meet halfway, but down they're not.
Well, it seems that according to them,
yet to sign that agreement that will seal off all negotiations.
But at least there's sukkah that all the parties have agreed. It's just for them to sign up. Moving on now to the punch. Illegal oil deals. FG fails to recover $69 billion loot in American banks. Police impound 70 Okadas, declare fresh clampdown on Lagos errant riders. When I prayed for my son on phone, I didn't know he would die next day, says father of the NAF airman. FG lists fresh 132 COVID-19 travel guidelines offenders. Fayemi suspends provost over college fumigation crisis. Probe begins. COVID-19 vaccination suffers setback. FG laments vaccine shortage. 29 generals, others may go as Yahaya emerges chief of army staff. Okay, which story? Let's start with the major headline.
So the special presidential investigation panel for recovery of public property started this investigation, and they appeared before the other committee on assessment and status of recovered loot House of Representatives panel. And they were talking about this 69 billion naira looted by our former NSA, the one who died in the plane crash, late General Azazi, and that these monies were supposed to be, were linked to his account in the Texas bank. They were looted through the NNPC with the help of CBN at the time. And the money is sitting down there. They've engaged a firm, but the Minister for Justice again stopped further engagement with that firm. They engaged a firm who has the powers to help us recover this money. The firm is willing to immediately recover 9 billion, and then there's 60 billion that will take a while to be recovered. But according to them, they're asking that the president should interfere so that the Minister for Justice does not, you know, continue to interfere with this amount, so that they are able to help us recover this looted money. Okay, you can see what is leaking through the NNPC in our investigations.
Let me take the Fayemi story, Ekiti story. So Governor Fayemi of Ekiti State had suspended the provost of the College of Health and Technology, Ijeru Ekiti, Dr. Cecilia Adebayo. And this is as a result of the fumigation that happened that caused about 100 children, students actually, to be hospitalized. Although the Commissioner for Health, Dr. Filani, has refuted the allegation that 2 students died. That was wrong, according to him. And he says that they've asked the provost to step aside to allow investigation into the circumstances surrounding the controversial fumigation. So, okay, any other story?
So COVID-19, the chairman of the Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19, Boss Mustafa, on Thursday said the government's inability to get more vaccines means that only 2 million Nigerians will be vaccinated. The initial plan was to have 40% of the population vaccinated in 2021 and then another 30% in 2022. But now it seems like we are not able to get more vaccines, and that means the only people that have been vaccinated will just complete their dose, and we just have about 2 million in the whole of Nigeria that will be vaccinated. So he's saying that means Nigeria is still in the, there's still going to be a lot of community transmission going on. We're still in the red zone, so we need to be careful. And he's asking international community. He was thinking that they would have gotten help from COVAX and Harvard facility. But he's asking the international community if they can send us more vaccines, please send us vaccines, we need it.
All right.
Stakeholders as well can help.
The immigration, the immigration is saying that they have over 100,000 applicants, but that they are ramping up production. They've done about 35,000. In the past few weeks, they've released 22,000 have collected their passport. About 23,000 people are still awaiting collection of their passports, but they're producing at a fast rate. That people should be on the lookout for the text messages on their phone so they can come and pick up their passport. That there's a major challenge that we now do not. The major challenge we have now is not booklets, but production capacity, and that they have 2 production lines in Ikoyi and in Ibadan Center, and they're expecting that 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day, applicants are allowed to come in, but they're trying to.
Very quickly now, let's move on to Daily Sun. 45 generals to retire as Buhari names Yahaya Army Chief. Police arrest attackers of Otom convoy. Open grazing ban, Mayeti Allah. 6 meeting with governors and other leaders. And the Niger on the brink, say Yoruba elders. Okay, which story are you taking? Let's start with the generals. What's that story? 45 generals are going to be retired?
Yes, okay. So yesterday, the president appointed a new chief of army staff. And because of that appointment, according to the papers, there's conflicting figures. So one said 45, Punch said 25, Vanguard has 20. But senior generals to him have to retire because, of course, according to the level of ranking in the army, they cannot be bowing to their junior. But this new chief of army staff, whose name is
General Yahaya.
Farouk Yahaya, will be coming in, and he was the former head of the Operation Lafi Adole before he was changed by the late chief of army staff. And he has a pedigree. People are feeling impressed by it. And the only criticism are, of course, ethnic.
You also have the Otom story, correct?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead, please.
So Governor Otom, the IGP, that's the Inspector General of Police, announced that 10 people suspected to have been involved in the attempted assassination of the governor of Benue State have been arrested. And he says that everybody involved, including the person who pulled the trigger, the person who organized, everybody involved in that attempt have been arrested. So we are waiting to see whether there will be a parade, a prosecution trial, or whatever. I hope that this is a neat case.
Yeah. So Mieti Allah, the leadership of Mieti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, that's MACBAN, yesterday appealed to the governors of the 36 states and other leaders in the country to convene a meeting so that they can have a second look at the ban on the open grazing by the southern governors. So according to the chairman of MACBAN, he said that he's making this appeal because he knows that though they have taken that decision because they're trying to put the interests of their people, but it's also very important that they come to a middle ground where they are able to get inputs from the northern elders. They work towards, improving the business of livestock, modernizing it, and so that everybody is a win-win for everybody, so to speak. So he's appealing that they come together, have this conversation. That would help to, douse the tension in those different areas.
Okay, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue with the review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So recently, dispatch operators took to the streets of Lagos complaining over the 250,000 naira registration fee imposed by NIPOST, with also a 100,000 naira renewal fee. The protesters are of the opinion that the government feels dispatch operators are making so much money without taking into cognizance the challenges they face, ranging from sources of the clientele and meetings with client targets and other things. Now, what are your thoughts on this? We have on the show Mr. Jude Blaze Chiwendu Ngosu, a dispatch operator who will be joining us on the show, who's here with us. Good morning. Welcome to the show, sir.
Good morning.
And we also have the general manager logistics and courier, who is actually the general manager of logistics and courier. The other that we have with us here, NIPOST, who's going to be representing NIPOST. I think it's Mr. Dotun Shonde. Welcome to the show, sir. So we have both of you on set, and I'm going to start with you to tell us exactly what happened and why you protested.
Good morning, and thank you all for having me on the show. My name is Jude Blaze Chinwendu. I'm a consigned logistics operator here in Lagos. Now, we've been running our businesses with a lot of turmoil, a lot of pain, you know, and it's been very unbearable. Now, the average cost of a dispatch bike is over 350,000 naira. Now, you have to now do your registration with over 70,000 naira. And now, in the course of the registration, I have with me here letters we submitted to NIPOST, and we also submitted one to the Speaker at the House of Assembly. Now here, we have, for a logistics company running here in Lagos, we have papers from Zamfara, we have papers from Kebbi, we have parking permits for Oyo State, for Ibadan. Now we have papers for as far as Benin Kebbi. Now we have local government papers from Ikorodu, which if you call all the phone numbers, none of them are in existence. All the addresses are all fake. Now we have what we call media paper. You ask these guys, what is media paper? They don't know what it is. Now, because of the nature of our business, we attend to a lot of vendors, you know, food vendors, clothes vendors, and then you have situations where you are on the road, and then the next thing, a local government council boy is stopping your dispatch bike that you don't have this paper. What's the paper about? He said it's for Kebbi. How do you buy Kebbi papers here in Lagos?
Wait, I don't understand. I don't understand. Okay. You mean those certificates that are carrying different states?
Yes.
You pay for it within Lagos?
Here in Lagos. Here is Kebbi. We have Ibadan.
Why?
I can't explain. You know, and then it's as bad as you go to a food vendor who has probably ordered for food for his staff, and then you're picking up food of over 150,000, over 100,000. These local government council boys would stop you, ensure they waste your time, and tell you if you don't send 5,000, if you don't send 10,000, they would waste your ride this time. Now, your office might probably be as far as Shangotedo, and you're stopping your bike in Magodo. How do you now leave Shangotedo and blow all the way to Magodo just to fight these guys? Now, you don't have any choice but to actually pay for something you know nothing about, because you don't want to risk disappointing your vendor, you don't want to risk food getting bad. Now, the government thinks we make a lot of money from this thing, but it's sad, because an average bike makes at most 5,000 naira in a day. Now, from that money, you have to buy fuel, 1,500. You have to ensure you buy recharge cards, 1,000 naira. You have to ensure for dispatch riders, because not all of them actually have a mobile phone that is Google Map accessible. Some of them use very small phones. So for those of them that have mobile phones that are Google Map accessible, you get them data. You know, yes, we don't want to talk about how the government is not doing anything for us. We have decided to do something for ourselves. You know, we're graduates. A lot of us are mothers. A lot of us are fathers, family men, family women, who actually use this business to stay alive. You know, and then when you look at it, at the end of the day, you have to pay. An average rider collects nothing less than 50,000 naira. And because we have a signed agreement with these guys, now you look at the end of the month, you are realizing 70,000 naira. And then you as a company have to pay your dispatch rider 50,000 naira. What's your take home at the end of the day? Now, we are not saying, now our complaint is, NIPOST has also now come. Yes, it is good for them to be regulators. A lot of people have said NIPOST is an operator. They're a player in the game. They shouldn't be a regulator. But no, they have laws binding them to actually regulate us. Fine, regulate us. You've come to say, let's pay licensing fee of over 250,000 and the renewal yearly of 100,000 naira. Now, those are for people that have below 5 bikes. Now, for those that have above 10 bikes, you say we should pay 2 million naira and a yearly renewal of over 400,000 naira. How do we make this money? Where do we get them? We are not saying...
So you've raised two issues here. There's one with the Lagos State government.
Yes.
And there's another with the NIPOST. So we'll deal with the Lagos State government a bit later, because if we, I wasn't privy to that.
Yeah, so
we need an official from there to come and explain to us what that's about.
No, sorry to cut you short. Now, this local government chairman, I'm opportunity to know some of them. They deny. They say they don't know anything about these papers. We're not saying NIPOST shouldn't regulate us. Now,
but they should also protect you from this.
Yes. Sanitize the system. You know, sanitize the system. We're not saying don't regulate us. No, that was not our fight yesterday. Before we came yesterday, they were prepared. They knew we were coming. and beautiful. They were very, very hospitable, very welcoming. You know, they welcomed us. It was a beautiful meeting. I was very happy about it. I asked some of my people there in NIPOST, and I asked some of us here in Alausa, help us reduce this fee so that we could be able to stay. We heard that we have 200 of our operators that have gotten this license. That's over 50 million naira. Help us. Help us to actually leave.
I just wanted to clarify whether you're against it, but you've gotten to that point now. You're not against what NIPOST is trying to do. You're just against the multiple taxes that you cannot even explain. I'd like NIPOST to clarify the ones that are legal and the ones that are not.
Based on what has been said so far, sir, so there are two issues. What they're being taxed with Lagos State, with what the Lagos State, the local government, and also NIPOST. Tell us exactly what's the right. What's the right?
Which one? What's the reason for NIPOST creating this system, Seth? Why did NIPOST create this system? And what, you know, because for every time a government is asking somebody to pay, there's something you're doing for them. So what are you doing for the dispatch riders to ask them to pay a registration fee for?
Thank you. Good morning once more. It's a pleasure to be on your show. Let me start by saying NIPOST is doing lots. Part of what NIPOST is doing is why I'm here, to sensitize the public, to also educate those who are ignorant or are innocent, you know. And by reason of that, it's not a justification to do what is illegal. Let me start by saying that I'm not here to speak on behalf of Lagos State government. Of course, we have a synergy with them. I can say one or two things, you know, but I would rather want you to invite Lagos State officials as per that. But for NIPOST, let me state this. As private investors, customers, everybody here has a right. You also have responsibility. Now, when you talk about responsibility, it's not just obeying norms, rules, and regulation. No, it's far beyond that. It's about making for a better society, better humanity. So part of the responsibility of NIPOST is to regulate the courier industry and logistics business in Nigeria, to license them, and not only that, to monitor them. Why do we do these three core mandates? To be able to ensure that the environment is well sanitized, for those who will be investors to have quick return on their investment. That's one of the reasons why NIPOST is actually doing what we are doing. Now, what we are doing for the dispatch riders is licensing them, giving them the meal ticket, empowering them to operate in that conducive environment. The question is, if you are not aware that you're supposed to get a license, a permit to operate, and you're operating, that is illegality, that is irresponsible. Now, that does not give you a right to even protest. What we had yesterday, like he rightly said, we had to bring them in, engage them, educate them, enlighten them about things they don't know. I mean, if you're coming to do a business, you are supposed to have a business plan. You have a feasibility study. You have an understanding of the terrain. There are people in the business before you came. You need to find out, you need to know certain things. So the 250 issue is not an issue. To be honest, it's actually not an issue. It's been there. NIPOST has been there.
No.
It's just them. I'm coming. It's just them coming. I am.
Is it new?
It's not new. That's the point I'm making. It's been there for a while. That's why I said no business plan, no feasibility, no market research. If these things has been done, you won't put the cart before the horse. That's what has happened, and it's just a matter of misinformation or some people being misguided or being misled. So NIPOST is offering license to will-be investors. It's a right. Now, the responsibility is that you obtain this license, you operate legally. So once you have the permit, we protect you from this kind of menace. It's double tax, it's multiple taxation. And we have engaged other stakeholders, Lagos State Ministry of Transport, we have a synergy with them on this same issue. But that's going to work for the the legitimate, those who are licensed. That's where they are getting it wrong. So we want them in because they are brothers or sisters. These are also private operators. We want to collaborate. We want to synergize. NIPOST is not competing with anybody. We want the youth, part of the regulation that we have now. This Monday, There was a public hearing. The stakeholders were actually invited. It's only those who are licensed that will actually have the opportunity.
Okay, let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll dig further because some may say that, why don't you clean up the system first, where they are not being multiply taxed before we now bring in this, or enforce this regulation that is there. But we'll talk about that after the break. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Thank you.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We still have the representative from NIPOST, and we are also here, our representative from the protesters. Now, there was something that I've heard him say. They're not so concerned about being licensed. That's not their problem. They want to be regulated. Yes, but I think the figure, the pricing is expensive. They can't afford it. Did you consider the fact that these are small SMEs? They're still building. They can't afford this figure because he said there's a 2 million naira fee for those who have more than a certain number of bikes. How did you arrive at this figure, and can it be adjusted to at least give them room to grow?
Okay. Let me say that it has been adjusted. 2020, the same fee wasn't what it is. The Honorable Minister of Communication, Dr. Issa Pantami, called for rule process making and engagement. The stakeholders were actually consulted. We had an interface. We had 3 stakeholders forum. 2 in Lagos, 1 in Abuja. The Postmaster General of the Federation, Dr. Ismail Adebayo Adewusi, was on ground, sat with the operators, the stakeholders, and we had a consensus. Now, there was a review. The last review was in 2001, so 19 years in between. So the amount you're talking about was actually reviewed downwards.
From what to what?
Of course, from 2 million to 250. We had 2 categories of licenses. Now it has been decategorized further to 4 categories. Now we have the international license category. You won't see them complaining or protesting. They are the ones really facing the brunt and having serious issue. We also have the national category of license. We have the regional. We have now the state and SMEs. All this was done on focus for the SMEs, for the youth empowerment, and of course, to create an enabling environment. The new regulation is so flexible that you can migrate from SMEs to national. So it gives you...
I need clarity on the categories you just read out. What I have before me is the international is 20 million for their registration license. License.
That's right.
National is 10 million.
And the renewal is 1.8.
I'll take the renewal in a bit.
Okay.
State is 2 million. Then there's something called municipal.
State is not 2 million.
What I have, just clarify.
Okay.
Is municipal 1 million. Okay. What's municipal? Okay. And then you now have special SMEs 250,000. So if we do not clarify what's between states, municipal, and that SMEs, there might be a bit.
All right, let me clarify that. Thank you for that. That's from the grapevine. That does not hold. That's what was in the past. Yes. That's why I'm here. What we have now is such that it's flexible, gives room for will-be investors to migrate from one level to another. The municipal is abolished. We don't have that again. That's part of the magnanimity of the minister and the postmaster general to accommodate the SME, the youth. So what we have now is a revised or a reviewed regulation from 2001 to 2020. And like I did say, the stakeholders were actually brought together. So you have benefits of sitting at the round table like this to be part of the decisions when you are licensed.
Okay, so the challenge for me, though, is that if stakeholders meeting is involving already players to create a policy that will not affect them but affects newcomers, we are not actually dealing with the people that are going to be involved in the policy decision.
That's right.
We are not talking to the people that will be affected by the new policy. You're talking to those that are already in your system.
That's right.
So I feel that there is room for guidance. But as a media person that's been following the fact that Nigeria is looking for how to internally generate revenue.
That's right.
It occurs to me that this is a revenue generation drive. And how do we now balance a revenue generation that we know our country needs with a revenue generation that might crumble and cripple some businesses that are trying legitimately to make ends meet?
Thank you. That's brilliant. The truth here is we should balance it, like you said. It's not about the internally generated revenue. It's less of that. It's more of promoting ease of doing business, creating conducive environment. Don't forget that some people have invested, made huge investment into the business.
The bigger ones.
Now you don't allow all commerce attitude. Do as you like mentality. You don't allow that. That's why the industry has to be sanitized. There are laws put in place. All you need to do is to get yourself abreast of that. Of course, you find a landing space. It's created such that you can come in as a small player and grow, build your capacity. It's more of that. Now, let me come to the 250, please. Let me come to the 250. I really don't want to talk about that because I said it's not about the IGR. It's not about that. He just said that for you to have one bike, you invest like 400,000. Some of them have like 3, some have like 5, some have like 15. Now let's put average of 300,000. 300,000 times, let's say 10. That's 3 million. You need to have an office. You are supposed to have an office. You're supposed to, of course, not only that, put certain things in place. Your weighing scale, how do you charge? Some of these ethical values and professional standards need to be adhered to for a responsible quality service. Once that is not done, we're going to have problems in our hands. So it's not about the money. 3 million, that's 300 naira, 300,000 naira times 10. Now, licensing fee is a token of 250,000. Now, if you have 15...
So you're saying 10 bikes is 250,000 that you...
No, I'm not saying that. The cost of one bag, let's put it at 300. Of course, it's more than that. You have as much as 700. Lagos State is asking for 200cc capacity. To get that is 750,000. Most of them don't have that. That's the regulation. That's the law. Now we are engaging Lagos State government on that to make it easy for them.
Let me come to you, because I know you want to say something.
Yes, I'd like to come in. So, with all due respect, the figures are not right. Now, Lagos State has said the capacity for a bike to run on the road is 200cc.
That's right.
Now, to set up a logistics company, to actually have one bike, register it, and do everything you need to do, you're looking at way above 800,000 naira. Now, there is no how we can put a bike below 200cc on the road. Why? Because when you register a bike, you do your MOT. You take your bike to VIO office for them to actually take into their clinic to ensure that the bike is roadworthy. Now, we don't want to talk about the double taxation on their own part also. Because now, take your bike into your clinic, they run a test on it, they say it is okay. They give you what they call auto-VIN. Now, after giving you auto-VIN, they still move you to another sector to check if the bike is roadworthy. You have checked to see that the bike is okay. What am I being charged roadworthiness for again? Now, that is that. Now, we also pay MOT. That is generating funds for Lagos State. Now, before MOT does not have a renewal. But now, because every other person is seeing that, oh, there's a lot of money in this logistics, let's crumble these people. Now, MOT has now come to say, that was about 2-3 months back, to say henceforth, MOT is just an approval to actually show that, okay, yes, your company is certified to run on the road. Now, we went to NIPOST yesterday, and I was shocked. We were told by a general manager that they don't know about all this that is happening.
That's true.
Now, you are a player and also a regulator. It's like being a referee and a player in the same football match.
Exactly.
Do you understand? You are regulating a business you're also doing. Now, you said you don't know anything about it, yet you come out to say, let's pay for license.
So let me
bring money.
Based on what you just said, let me pose this question to you, and I have to go on a quick break. Because this is obviously a growing sector. So some people will say that as NIPOST, yes, you want to regulate them. But why don't we make the environment conducive for them to even grow? So that you engage the Lagos State government, clear out all these issues, and agree to a point where, yes, now this is the only fee you have to pay. Once that is clear,
they will be rushing to become members.
They will now want to be members because you have cleared all the gridlocks, all the loopholes they have within the state to ensure not that they want to stay under you. So that's why they'll say you're putting the cart before the horse by just charging them to clean up the system for them.
And yes, yesterday they also mentioned that, yes, for the 250,000, we could actually merge. It's not visible.
Okay.
Now, why is it not visible? It's because You have a brand, I have a brand. How do we merge? We now decide on a name to use and now start going about doing another CAC and doing another registration,
I'll let the
changing your
NIPOST
brand and all.
respond to that after this quick break. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be...
Thanks for staying with us. So before the break, I had asked a question because he was asking about all the issues they have to go through within the state. So now I was saying that are the regulators like you putting the carts before the horse? Shouldn't you clear out the system for them before you begin to regulate and invite them so that they can actually really be under your guidance?
Well, I don't believe that we as regulators are putting the cart before the horse. Rather, the illegal operators, unlicensed operators are putting the cart before the horse. The industry is sanitized. We have professional values and ethical standards. Let me clarify this. Lagos State Ministry of Transport, by extant law, they have the mandate to regulate the traffic rules. There are tax tariff that they charge, which is legitimate. We don't have influence over that. We can only engage them, which we are doing on behalf of our members, those who are licensed, to dialogue with them. Now, some of these fictitious rates is actually unknown. So both them...
Do you help them investigate?
Yeah, we have done that. We have engaged them.
Okay.
We've been to meet with the Association of Local Government of Nigeria. Okay. I just came back from Abuja. Most of these things it's not right. True. Yes, that's the truth, and we have engaged them. It's part of what we do. So I'm saying, all right.
I'd love to hear what you do to enforce the fictitious taxes. Yeah. But in this whole scheme of things, is the counterproductivity of this on small businesses who patronize these courier services being put into consideration, and even consumers who would then have to pay more, or even not, find possible courier.
I'd like to come in there. It affects everybody. I would say it categorically with all confidence. DHL cannot offer half the service we offer here in Lagos. You have a situation where a vendor can call you, I need my item delivered expressly within the next 2 hours, and we are delivering. We have situations I have had to pay over 150,000 naira because a vendor requested for an item for one of my dispatch to pick up in the market. They picked it up and a hoodlum stopped them on the road. Delayed him till the end of the day. The customer decides, I'm not buying, I'm not interested again. The person in the market says, I cannot receive, I refuse to collect. It turns to a police case, you go to the police station, you bail yourself at the end of the day. You now buy items you don't even need. Now look at, this is, my phone has been ringing, I just want to pick the conception. Now this is waste paper baskets permit.
Okay, we'll deal with that with the Lagos State. I think we have to run up, unfortunately. But this is obviously an issue we want to bring up the regulators within the state to see what we can do to resolve this issue. But I'd like NIPOST to have a final word on this as we round up. They need your help. Yes. They want to grow. They want to go, and they're asking that you can help them engage the authorities to ensure they reduce all this bogus, I would say, taxes, and also on your own end, if you can consider them further to reduce that figure, because it's still high for now. They can't afford it, according to what I'm hearing. So please, you can take that back to your team where they can review these figures further so that young people like this can grow.
This country is hard.
Okay. It's not this country is not hard. Let's be optimistic. I'm an optimistic person. I believe strongly, that we should look at things critically. The industry is about security, safety of both the operators, the investors, and the Nigerian public. If you are operating illegally, you don't have insurance cover, and you don't have a place, to run to when there's problems, you're not doing yourself good. Now we've got a bunch of complaints from the same public. My parcels, my consignment is missing. My consignment, my parcel is not delivered. You can't trace the office of the courier and logistics outfit. People are crying. We have lots of unprofessional acts on the road. Some that are not licensed, some that don't even have the ethical value. Some of them actually will do better, will do greatly once they take advantage of our training programs, which we offer. We also give them some level of protection from all these things.
We have to run. Well, thank you very much. Unfortunately, we
will.
run out of
10,000
time.
operators. You know, yesterday you said you have just 200 actually applied for this license. It shows a lot of us are crying.
Yeah.
We can't
We
afford
are- we are- we are- we are-
We'll
Over
continue.
3,000 and only
We'll
200
continue to have this
licenses.
conversation.
Yeah, we are
But
on
unfortunately, we have to wrap up this stuff. I think it's a conversation worth having again. To bring it back because 3,000 people operating, and you only have about 200 registered. That there's a huge lacuna, so we have to fix that. But thank you very much, sir, for coming on the show.
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
having
sir.
me.
And we just hope that this can be resolved
Find a
soon
good
so that
middle
everybody
ground.
can participate in the sector. That's all we can take on this. When we come back, move on to other topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, Doyin Sola is a content creator, filmmaker, and social media strategist who has experience in brand management and content creation and has worked in digital communications and managed social media for various companies. She holds a postgraduate degree in film production and from Sheridan in Canada. Welcome with us, Doyin Sola Wale Bamore. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So we're still celebrating young people, Children's
Yeah.
Day and all that. We just felt it was important for you to bring you on to tell us about your career, what you've done so far. And I know you worked on a project, Shades of Lagos, which is
Yes.
pretty interesting.
Yes.
Tell us about it and then tell us what your work is and what you hope to do in future.
Yeah, so I'll still go with that tagline, being a child, because I feel like I'm still a child at heart. No one wants to like grow up and be an adult.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm a filmmaker, and I recently completed a documentary called Shades of Lagos. And it's basically like telling Lagos from the point of view of the people that live here, because every single time you watch a documentary about Nigeria or Lagos, to be precise, and it's another person telling our own stories, showing like things that are real, but like it's not completely true to Lagos. So I got in contact with like 10 characters, and we explored like their story growing up in Lagos. And in as much as they all came from like different backgrounds of Lagos, they still had that connecting story. So you could come from like a very affluent family or like a not so like stable family, but you can still relate to like the struggles of Lagos and like the hustle and the bustle of like the city.
The clip of what I watched of that video
Yeah.
was almost portraying Lagos in this bad city that you have to, you know, and
Hustle.
and you're thinking that yes, there's a hustle part and there's also the life, the fun, the great
Yeah.
part of it. I didn't get that sense. Was that a mix, or maybe I just missed it?
I feel like it was closer to the end because I wanted to show the typical what you expect. Okay, you see like the slum areas of Lagos, but watch a few clips after and you see like people turning up in like the clubs, and like you see the really good roads that, because I haven't been back for like the past 3 years, and I have to say the roads have been good, like relatively really good, especially like the Agege road.
Yeah.
That one was like really shocking to me. I felt like something happened. But yeah, like we kind of like showed the different sides. So we showed the bad side, we showed the good side, and we showed like the in-between also. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying like Lagos is completely like stunning or anything, but it has like the good side still that we try to like incorporate and just show people like we still have this in Lagos. It's not completely like bad.
Okay. Did it also capture, because I haven't seen the documentary, but I would like to know if it captured the hustle spirit of Lagosians, the ability to wake up as early as 4 a.m. and hitting the road, even without the... It's an ability, honestly. Even without the lights and everything. Did it... Because I feel that young people, especially Nigerians, have been projected in a bad light outside the country. And, you know, when you travel, once you mention you're in Nigeria, and there's this suspicious look that you get from people outside the country. So is this a deliberate attempt to show that we are actually good people?
Yes, so backstory to that is the first day of school, when I went to film school, we're all asked to introduce ourselves and tell like a bit of ourselves. And I remember saying my name, and it caused like commotion. Everyone was laughing. I kind of like was expecting that. But when I got to the part of, oh, I'm from Lagos, Nigeria, everyone was looking like I said something foreign. And I was like, yeah, Lagos, Nigeria. Because every Lagosian is proud of where they're from. They know that you might not know Nigeria, but you know Lagos because you've heard about it somewhere, right? So after saying that, and I got like the vibe. It was not like, oh, you know about it type of thing. And what they even knew was like the wrong misconception of like, oh, the scammers and like the Nigerian prince type of story. So I needed like a story that when they watch it, they can look back and be like, okay, yeah, I was ignorant at first, but now I understand. Like a lot of people mention the hustle spirit in Lagos. Like Lagos is the only place, you know, you have a meeting for 9, or you have to leave home for like 4 or 5. And you also like understand when someone tells you they're in traffic, like you know that is like a valid reason.
Real.
And someone mentioned that in the documentary actually, like she mentioned how like you can be late for something and just saying you're in traffic is almost like, okay, yeah, you're fine, you're good to go.
It's a bit like weather. But when I say the weather, you understand
Yeah.
the weather was bad. So everybody has a peculiar. Let me come to.
I'm always happy to see people take ownership and, you know, sort of try to like create the narrative, you know. But one of the things that I share, and I know Mariah is passionate about, is how we tell our stories. That we don't tell a story of our past reality, but we try to create the future for the younger generation. More importantly, when I watch interviews of Elon Musk and what's his name, Jeff Bezos, and both of them have their entire life mapped out based on what they watched in a movie about life on Mars, and they're actively working towards creating. And it's just because they watched a movie that told them that story is possible. You're a content creator. How are you? What's the story you want to tell? What's the image you want to portray? What's the message you want to leave that would spiral that information down to other people?
Thank you for that really good question. But I actually say this a lot, and I feel like the only type of story you can tell is a story that you've experienced for yourself. So in as much as I am currently in Nigeria in diaspora, I am very passionate about telling Afrocentric stories. So stories that relate to like a typical African, not necessarily only Nigerian, but a typical African. And I remember growing up, like I'd never been to New York until like last year or so. But you can't tell me like there's a street in New York that I don't know, because I just watched films, and from like the different TV shows, I could relate almost being like an American myself. So I want to kind of do the same for Africa and Nigeria. I want you to like watch our content and be like, oh yeah, so I know this place, I know Abuja, I know Kaduna, like the most random places, because we watch films and we see like their own content, and we already know all these things just from watching it. So I feel like that also would also increase like tourism and also our own recognition in somewhat ways, because Nigeria is very talented, I must say.
Nima.
I am, how do I like to, I love Lagos. I was born here, I grew up here.
Yeah.
I know Lagos the way I used to boast to my friends that are Lagosians that don't know your state. But there's this thing that I miss about my own state, you know, where I'm from, that I don't know that place as much as I know a Lagos state.
Yeah.
I want to pick from your brain. Let me see what you have as a background, because I just don't know Lagos. I know a bit of history of Lagos. I would sit with a Lagos book and I would fall in love with reading the history because I live here.
Yes.
Do you have that sort of experience where you go into a place and you can immediately relate? Or my husband most times will be saying, hey, I have an address somewhere, I say, okay, the fastest way here is here. You can break in through.
Like,
and
you know,
are you a conductor? You know, do you have that feeling, you know, when you talk about Lagos? And let me get a feel of an area.
Like, you know, why are you interrogating her?
I just want to know, because, you know, when you make movies and you're passionate, sometimes it shows in the richness of what you do.
Yeah.
Let me know that area that, you know, whenever they talk about it in Lagos.
Like, you know, the...
So one thing I call myself on, like, social media is Agege Shonda Rhimes.
Okay.
So it's like, because I grew up in Agege, and I love Shonda Rhimes a lot. Like, she's a filmmaker that I want to be like. So I just combine both of them, and I'm like, okay, I'm Agege Shonda Rhimes. So I can beat my chest anyway and tell you that I know anywhere in Agege. I might not know the name of the street, but like I can know how to like direction. So, but
what are your future plans for filmmaking? Because I know you're young. I mean, you have your whole career ahead of you.
Yes.
What are those things you'd like to create and we can look out for in future?
I feel like I said that earlier on. I just want to create very Afrocentric stories. I want to change the storytelling technique in Nigeria. Like, we're actually growing. Like some 15 years back, we are not where we were, right? So like, it's almost like the way up from here. Like, we'll just keep building, and I want to be part of that change. Like, I want to be the change I want to see more.
There's a young person watching you right now saying that, do you have to get investors to support this job you did? Because people are saying, I also want to make films, but she's young and she's
able to pull it
off. How were you able to do that?
I don't think I was able to pull it off. I feel like the people that were around me were the ones that helped me pull it off, because I kind of skipped the stage of self-discovery from an age of about, I think, 11. My dad got me like a camcorder. I didn't really know how much it cost or like any of those things. And I remember that it was from that I snuck a camera to secondary school, and I was always like taking pictures. And those are the pictures we look at now and we're like, oh, we're so skinny then, and all of those things. But like my parents were like my #1 champion. Like, they never wanted me to say, oh, you want to be a lawyer. Like, there's no offense trying to be any of those career paths, but most of the time when people go that way and then they end up going like the other route, you've kind of wasted time. So for me, at a very young age, I already knew what I wanted, and I had like the family and like the parental guidance more or less to like boost me in that direction I wanted to go to. So it was almost like I've just been doing this for as long as I can remember.
Awesome.
Yeah, we had a guest.
Talk about your photography, but you've mentioned it already. You were self-taught.
Yes.
Starting from when your father bought you the camcorder, and then you had to. So what advice would you give to young people out there who are still struggling to find what they can do? So I talk to a lot of young people, and they say, I've graduated from school, I have no job, and I'm waiting to be employed. And I'm like, look inwards, what can you do?
Yeah.
How do you get them to, what advice would you give to them? Those people who are struggling to find what they can do.
Yeah, I would actually pick on the word you said, look inward, because that's something I tell people a lot. So for my friends, like I would look in my close circle, every single thing we're all doing right now, some 10 years ago, we kind of dabbled into it. So I'll give my friend, for example, she's a brand manager for a brand. And I remember in secondary school, she had like a prefect post, but she didn't want that prefect post. She was said like social, I think social prefect or something like that. And looking to the future, which is right now, right? It's kind of in line with what she's doing. So I feel like everyone should just like kind of take a step back and look. You might study medicine, but you might end up like
being a chef.
Being a chef, exactly. Like just look at what you like, and I feel like go based on that, and don't let money be, like money definitely is important, don't get me wrong, but money shouldn't be like the drive for you to want to do something, because you crash at some point. Like you would not get the money at the point you need it. It would definitely come at some other point.
So I wanted to ask you about this drive that many young people have to be social media influencers. Everybody wants to become an influencer. We want to trend. We want to work at home, wear all the fashionable clothes. Like there's this thing where people are just in a hurry to become popular.
Yes.
And I know that you've been in the social media space, but you're not like you're trending or all of that. So how do you balance the desire? Did you have the desire to become popular, trendy influencer? And how do you balance that feeling within yourself? Yeah. And how would you advise those who all they want to do is they want to be popular, they want to trend, and they will do anything to achieve it? How do you balance it?
For me, I would not use the word popular, but everyone in anything you're doing, you want to be recognized for it. So I think I'll pick on the word recognized. I want to be recognized for what I want to do. And the mindset of wanting to be something because you see how it is, you're seeing the finished product of a lot of these influencers. You're not seeing their struggle. Some of these people have been like pushing influencing for like some 10 years, some 5 years, or you think like you just wake up, open a YouTube channel and like blow, for example, like that wouldn't happen. So I feel like people just need to change the mindset of I want to be famous, right? Because fast fame isn't necessarily good fame. Like the slower you take things, the more you're honing your craft and perfecting it. And by the time like it comes, you'll be ready because like
for the spotlight.
You wouldn't crash.
In this ambition to be whatever your dreams are, what kind of content would you ethically not do?
Okay.
You know, are you guided by any such?
Yeah, so for me, I'm guided by my religious beliefs, number one. I'm not like the typical, I'm a Christian, for example, but I'm not like the, what's the word?
Holy Spirit.
Yeah, I'm not like casting and biting every time, but like I'm guided by like the religious beliefs I grew up with, and also like my own personal moral beliefs. Like there's certain things my friend does, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I wouldn't do that because I don't want to do that. And I have a very strong sense of self. Like, if I'm not going to do anything, you're not going to make me do anything.
What are your thoughts on the senior challenge that trended? What's your perspective on that?
Would you shoot one?
No, I didn't.
If you would do one, would you shoot one?
If I wouldn't do one, I wouldn't necessarily shoot one. I would shoot one for like a friend, because I take my friends' pictures every single time. Like, I'm their personal photographers. But professionally, I don't mind, because I've seen them like getting dressed and all of those things. So it wouldn't be like something new. Yeah. But I wouldn't necessarily collect money or be paid to do something like that, which is what I mentioned. Like, most of the time when people ask me to like take their pictures, for example, it's not a thing of pride, but I always ask, what is it for? What are you trying to do? And if it's not something I want to do, I just politely tell them.
So you allow the devil use you to on red light for your friends? Because it's the devil that's on that red light.
Well, I just press the shutter, so I don't think.
No, but I like the fact that you say you're guided by your personal values and your Christian journey.
Yes.
But you know you didn't really answer Nima's question, because what Nima asked was, like, is there a line you will not cross in your content creation drive?
Yes, definitely. Like, I feel like anything I don't personally like agree with. So, for example, I wouldn't shoot a pornographic scene because I am not the type that believes in something like that. So, like, there are certain things that, until I'm put in the situation, I would know, like, okay, I'm sorry, I can't do this. Like, I'm a content creator, but at the same time, I am not for sale type of thing. Like,
Which do you prefer, photography or filmmaking?
Filmmaking.
So photography is just on the side.
It was just my first love. Like, I started with that, and then I was like, okay, I think I could do more type of things.
You seem like a very exciting person, fun-loving. You know, you're kind of guy I just hang out with the club with, and I'm going to enjoy my night. That you're just cool. So do you have friends, have guys, girls? You guys do stuff?
Yes, well, I mostly hang out with like my friends, because I'm the type of person that I don't consider my friends friends. I consider them like cousins or family.
You've been together for a long time.
Exactly. Like, I feel like that friendship word is like very little to compare to like what they actually do for me.
How has the past 3 years been in Canada? You know, many people want to Faraja.
How you dating scene in Canada? Are they Nigerians? They're correct Nigerians.
Men?
Correct men. Correct guys.
I can't believe I'm saying this on national TV, but they are not men.
There are no men in Canada.
Yes, like, so the romantic sense is a lot different from here, right?
Okay.
Here you could be on the street and a random person will walk up to you and feel like they're entitled to your phone number. But like in Canada, you see a guy look at you, or you're looking at each other, you just walk past the other way.
Nobody says anything.
Nobody says anything.
Are you available though?
Yes, I am. I'm not married. Forget the ring.
So you're dating, right?
No,
so
I'm not.
You're not dating right now?
I'm focusing on my work right now.
We have to hook out.
We got to hook you up. I love your dimples. I love your dimples. When I see young people with dimples like me, I love it. And don't worry, we'll hook you up.
We will find you somebody.
All right.
My mom has the Ankara ready already.
Are you serious? No, don't worry. We'll hook you up. We'll hook you doing so long. No doubt about it. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure having you on the show. We wish you the best. Good luck in what you do.
And you guys are so lovely. I've seen like a couple of your episodes, and you're doing really amazing.
That's all we can take on the show. Have a fabulous weekend. We'll see you Monday. Bye for now.
Bye.